Millionaire woman rescues struggling mechanic from rain, then learns he's an heir in disguise. Sophia Blackwood grips the steering wheel of her Tesla Model S as lightning illuminates the Connecticut countryside, her knuckles white against the black leather interior. At 42, she commands a tech empire worth nearly $1 billion, built from a cybersecurity company she founded after dropping out of MIT 20 years ago. Tonight, she's returning from a board meeting that secured her latest acquisition, a smaller firm whose innovative encryption technology will cement her company's dominance in corporate security. The storm that caught her on the winding back roads between Hartford and her Westport estate mirrors the tempest that has defined her life. Sophia learned early that success requires armor, that vulnerability is a luxury she cannot afford in a world that constantly tests her resolve. Her penthouse offices, her isolated mansion, even her car, everything designed to insulate her from the chaos and unpredictability of human connection. As rain pounds against her windshield with increasing fury, Sophia's headlights catch a figure hunched beside a broken-down pickup truck on the shoulder ahead. The sensible choice would be to drive past her. Security team has drilled into her the dangers of stopping for strangers, especially in isolated areas. But something about the figure's defeated posture, the way he stands completely still in the downpour, compels her to slow down. The man beside the truck appears to be in his mid-30s, soaked through despite a worn denim jacket that provides little protection against the storm. His dark hair is plastered to his head, and even from her car, Sophia can see him shivering. He's not frantically waving for help or trying to flag down passing cars. Instead, he seems resigned to his fate, accepting the storm's punishment with quiet dignity. Sophia pulls over despite every instinct screaming against the decision. She lowers her passenger window just enough to speak while maintaining her safety, but the wind immediately drives rain into her pristine interior. The man approaches her car cautiously, clearly aware that a lone woman might be uncomfortable stopping for a stranger. He bends down to her window level, and Sophia sees kind eyes in a face weathered by outdoor work. His hands are calloused and stained with motor oil. His clothes speak of manual labor and financial struggle, but his manner suggests education and refinement that don't quite match his appearance. He introduces himself as Jake, explains that his truck's transmission finally gave up after months of threatening to fail. He's been stranded for over an hour, his phone dead, no emergency fund for a tow truck. He assures Sophia that he doesn't expect her to solve his problems. He just wanted to thank her for stopping when most people wouldn't have bothered. Something in Jake's voice, a careful articulation beneath the working-class exterior, a vocabulary that suggests broader education, intrigues Sophia. More importantly, she recognizes the pride that makes him reluctant to accept help, the dignity that prevents him from pleading his case. These are qualities she respects, having built her own success on similar foundations, against every protocol. Her security team is established. Sophia offers Jake a ride, not just to the nearest town, but to her estate where he can dry off, use her phone, and arrange proper transportation. The offer surprises even herself. She hasn't invited anyone into her personal space in years, much less a stranger found on a stormy roadside. Jake initially refuses, understanding the impropriety of accepting such generosity from someone he's just met. But the storm is worsening. His situation is genuinely desperate, and Sophia's offer carries an authority that suggests she's accustomed to having her decisions respected. After several minutes of polite back and forth, he accepts her help with the grateful humility of someone who recognizes genuine kindness. The drive to Sophia's estate provides the first real conversation she's had with someone outside her business circle in months. Jake speaks about his work at a small garage in Bridgeport, his efforts to keep older cars running for families who can't afford newer vehicles. He describes his work with the passion of someone who finds genuine satisfaction in solving problems and helping others, even when the financial rewards are minimal. Sophia finds herself sharing more than she intended about her own work, describing the satisfaction of building something from nothing, of creating security solutions that protect businesses from increasingly sophisticated cyber threats. For the first time in years, she speaks about her company not in terms of market valuations or competitive advantages, but as a creative endeavor that challenges her intellect and skills. Their conversation flows with surprising ease, touching on topics from the satisfaction of hands-on work to the isolation that success can create. Jake demonstrates an understanding of business principles that seems unusual for a mechanic, while Sophia discovers that manual work requires problem-solving skills not unlike those she uses in technology development. Sophia's estate emerges from the storm like something from a different world, gates that open automatically at her approach. A circular driveway leading to a modern mansion that seems to float above perfectly manicured grounds. The contrast between Jake's broken-down truck and her technological fortress isn't lost on either of them. Inside her home, Jake appears genuinely amazed by the minimalist luxury that surrounds him. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Long Island. Sound, original artwork decorates walls lit by carefully designed ambient lighting, and every piece of furniture represents the intersection of form and function perfected by unlimited resources. But Jake's reaction isn't the acquisitive envy Sophia expects from people encountering her wealth. Instead, he shows appreciation for the artistry and engineering that created such a space, asking thoughtful questions about architectural choices and energy efficiency systems. His interest seems intellectual rather than material, focused on understanding how things work rather than calculating their monetary value. Sophia provides Jake with dry clothes, a Harvard sweatshirt and jeans from her brother's closet, items left behind during his last visit years ago. While Jake changes and dries off, Sophia finds herself studying her home through his eyes, seeing it as he might. Impressive but lonely, beautiful but sterile, a perfect environment for someone who has chosen isolation over vulnerability. Over coffee in her kitchen, a space more equipped for entertaining than the simple meal preparation it rarely sees. Jake tells Sophia more about his life. He speaks of his dedication to his elderly uncle who raised him after his parents died, his efforts to save money for community college courses, his dreams of eventually opening his own garage that could serve his neighborhood more effectively. Sophia recognizes in Jake's stories the same drive that motivated her own rise from modest beginnings to extraordinary success. But where her ambition led to isolation and emotional armor, Jake's goals remain connected to community service and family loyalty. He wants success that lifts others rather than separating himself from them. As the storm continues to rage outside, Sophia makes an impulsive offer that surprises them both. Her estate includes a guest house that sits empty year-round, and her corporate fleet requires maintenance from mechanics she trusts. She offers Jake temporary housing and contract work maintaining her vehicles, an arrangement that would provide him stable income while he pursues his education and future plans. Jake's response reveals the careful consideration of someone accustomed to weighing decisions thoroughly. He asks about expectations, boundaries, and the implications of accepting such an unusual arrangement. His questions demonstrate both intelligence and integrity, suggesting someone who understands that accepting help creates obligations and wants to ensure he can fulfill them honorably. Sophia realizes that her offer stems not just from altruism, but from genuine interest in having Jake nearby. His presence has already transformed her sterile evening routine into something approaching human warmth, and she finds herself reluctant to return to the isolation that wealth has imposed upon her life. The chapter ends with Jake accepting Sophia's offer and settling into the guest house, both of them acknowledging that this arrangement represents uncharted territory for two people who have learned to be self-sufficient in very different ways. Neither fully understands what they're beginning, but both sense that this storm-driven encounter might change their carefully constructed lives in fundamental ways. 3 weeks into their unusual arrangement, Sophia discovers that having Jake on her property has transformed her daily routine in unexpected ways. Her morning coffee is enhanced by watching him work on her cars through her kitchen window, his methodical approach and obvious expertise providing a kind of meditation she never anticipated. Evening conversations have become the highlight of her day, their discussions ranging from mechanical engineering to business strategy, from philosophy to their shared experiences of building something meaningful from nothing. Jake's work exceeds every expectation Sophia had when she made her impulsive offer. Her vehicles have never been better maintained, but more than that, Jake approaches each task with a perfectionism that mirrors her own professional standards. He doesn't just fix problems, he anticipates them, implementing improvements that prevent future issues and extend the life of every system he touches. But Sophia begins to notice inconsistencies that don't quite fit Jake's story of being a struggling mechanic. His tool collection includes several pieces of equipment that cost more than most mechanics earn in months. His casual knowledge of high-end automotive systems suggests experience with vehicles far more expensive than the typical garage would service. Most intriguingly, she occasionally catches him speaking on the phone in what sounds like business conversations far more complex than arranging parts deliveries. The first major clue comes when Sophia overhears Jake handling a call about investment, portfolios, and asset management. His side of the conversation demonstrates sophisticated understanding of financial markets and corporate structures that seems impossible for someone living paycheck to paycheck. When she asks about the call, Jake explains it as helping a friend with some financial questions, but his discomfort with the explanation is obvious. Sophia's curiosity evolves into something closer to investigation. Her business success has always depended on reading people accurately, identifying inconsistencies, and uncovering hidden information. Jake's story has too many gaps, too many moments where his knowledge and mannerisms don't match his claimed background. The breakthrough comes when Sophia recognizes Jake's name in a Wall Street Journal article about the Thornfield Industries succession plan. According to the article, James Jake Thornfield III, heir to a manufacturing empire worth over $3 billion, disappeared from public life 6 months ago following a dispute with his family's board of directors. The accompanying photo, while formal and taken in very different circumstances, is unmistakably the man currently living in her guest house. Sophia's initial reaction is a complex mixture of betrayal, fascination, and anger. Jake isn't just hiding his identity, he's the heir to a fortune that dwarfs even her own considerable wealth. Everything about their relationship has been built on what she now realizes was a fundamental deception. But as Sophia processes this revelation, she begins to understand the parallels between Jake's situation and her own. Both of them have used false identities to escape the pressures and expectations that come with extreme wealth. The difference is that Jake chose to step down from privilege, while Sophia clawed her way up from modest beginnings. The confrontation happens that evening, when Sophia presents Jake with the newspaper article and demands an explanation. Jake's response reveals the depth of his exhaustion with a life lived under constant scrutiny and family pressure. He explains that the Thornfield name comes with expectations that suffocated his desire for authentic relationships and meaningful work. Jake describes growing up in a world where every friendship was suspect, where potential romantic partners were either gold diggers or social climbers, where his own family viewed him primarily as a business asset rather than an individual. His mechanical skills, developed as a teenager working on classic cars in his family's collection, became his escape from a world where his value was measured entirely in terms of inheritance and corporate position. The dispute with his family's board wasn't about business strategy, but about Jake's insistence on implementing worker protections and environmental improvements that would reduce short-term profits. When his humanitarian concerns were dismissed as naive idealism, Jake realized he couldn't live as a figurehead for decisions that violated his personal values. His disappearance was carefully planned. He liquidated personal accounts, established a new identity, and chose manual labor specifically because it was the furthest possible departure from his privileged background. The broken-down truck, the struggling mechanic persona, all of it was designed to experience life as most people actually live it, free from the distortions that extreme wealth creates. Sophia's anger at being deceived gradually transforms into something closer to admiration. Jake's choice to abandon privilege in search of authenticity represents a kind of courage that her own rise to wealth never required. While she fought to escape limitation, he fought to escape excess, both of them seeking the same thing from opposite directions. But Jake's revelation forces Sophia to confront her own motivations for helping him. Did she offer assistance because she recognized genuine need, or because his working-class status made him feel safe? Someone who couldn't threaten her position or exploit her vulnerability. Her attraction to Jake becomes more complicated when she realizes they're actually peers rather than benefactor and recipient. The most profound moment of their conversation comes when Jake explains why he didn't reveal his identity when Sophia first helped him. He had finally found someone who valued him for his character and abilities rather than his inheritance, someone who saw his potential rather than his bank account. Revealing his wealth would have fundamentally altered their dynamic, potentially destroying the authentic connection he had spent months searching for. Sophia realizes that Jake's deception parallels her own emotional walls, both of them using false presentations to protect something vulnerable underneath. His working-class disguise served the same function as her corporate armor, creating distance from people who might exploit their true selves. Their relationship reaches a crossroads that neither anticipated when this arrangement began. Sophia must decide whether she can trust someone who has lied about his fundamental identity, while Jake must determine whether Sophia's feelings for him were genuine or based on the power dynamic his deception created. The resolution comes when both of them acknowledge that their connection transcended the false premises on which it was built. Sophia recognizes that Jake's character, his integrity, work ethic, and genuine concern for others remained consistent regardless of his financial status. Jake understands that Sophia's initial kindness came from recognizing something authentic in him, not from any desire to help someone beneath her station. Their conversation evolves into mutual recognition that both of them have been running from the isolation that extreme wealth can create. Sophia's success required emotional distance to protect herself from exploitation, while Jake's inheritance created barriers to authentic relationships. In each other, they discovered someone who could understand the unique challenges that come with extraordinary financial resources. The story concludes with both of them making choices that prioritize authentic connection over comfortable deception. Jake decides to reclaim his position at Thornfield Industries, but with the condition that he can implement the humanitarian changes that originally caused his departure. Sophia offers to partner with his efforts, combining their resources and expertise to create business models that prioritize social responsibility alongside profitability. Their romantic relationship evolves from the unusual circumstances of their meeting into something based on mutual respect and shared values. Both millionaires, both committed to using their resources responsibly, both seeking to balance success with authentic human connection. The millionaire woman who rescued a struggling mechanic from the rain discovered that sometimes the people who need saving are those who appear to have everything. Jake's disguise revealed that wealth without purpose creates its own kind of poverty, while Sophia's generosity showed that true richness comes from connections that transcend financial status. Their love story becomes proof that the most meaningful relationships develop when people see beyond surface presentations to recognize the authentic person underneath. In a world where extreme wealth often creates barriers to genuine connection, Sophia and Jake found each other by looking past the roles they played to discover the people they truly wanted to become. The storm that brought them together was nothing compared to the tempest of expectations and pressures they faced separately. Together, they learned that the most valuable inheritance isn't money, but the wisdom to use resources in service of something larger than personal accumulation. Whether that's protecting others through cybersecurity innovation or creating manufacturing jobs that sustain entire communities.
Thank you for watching this story unfold with us here on M&A The Story Unfolds. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new tale. We'd love to know where you're watching. Leave a comment below and tell us what part of the world you're joining us from. Your support means everything. See you in the next story.